Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning, where we are again together in Jesus' name. Before I do our announcements today, I would like to ask our dear brother Charles to do our uh, opening prayer, please.
Okay. So everybody, join me on this evocation of the presence of the good spirits with the blessings of our Creator and our Master Jesus Christ, supporting us in this exercise of the mind and the spirit that we do every Sunday. And we are here open to receive the message that has been prepared for us today, that our mind be open, that our thoughts be focused, so that we can absorb as much as possible the teachings of this morning. With that, we open the services of the Bezerra Spiritist Center of Sunday. Today is August 1st, 21, full of butterflies. Amen.
So be
Yay! All right. So, good morning, everybody, to the Spiritual Healing Center. We respect all religions and spiritual traditions. We are a non-denominational center, and we are here studying the Spiritist codification written by Allan Kardec through the higher sphere spirits. So, we are members of the United States Spiritist Federation. So our beliefs is really around the scientific, philosophical, and religious principles of the Spiritism. So we get together here every Sunday for us to learn, to discuss, to make questions, for us to share our doubts. This is a very safe and this is the best place for us to just share what we are thinking because we are amongst family and we are here really for us to better understand who we are, where we came from, where we are going, how we can make this journey the best of our version. So Emmanuel, the spirit mentor from Chico Xavier, taught us that knowledge and love are the two wings for our spiritual evolution, right? So you will see that the service here is split into two parts. The first part, we will have someone speaking to us, something that the speaker learned and share his and her understanding. But during this moment, it's really important that you practice the active listening, that you participate, that you take notes, because it is during this moment that your mentor will already be working with you for you to download the messages that are important for you to reflect along the week. And we know that we co create with God. So while we are here looking for the spiritual guidance and protection, we also have to do our part, which is really try to understand, absorb, and put in practice whatever we understand or whatever we are invited to reflect. So make sure that you also pay attention to your part in this journey. The second part of our service is a hands-on healing where all the mediums are going to vibrate and work with the high spirituality, bringing to all of us wherever you are the good vibration and the positive um, excuse me, magnetics coming from Jesus and his messengers. So then we can receive the healing, the guidance, the protection that we are looking for. A couple of announcements of what BSH is being offering to the public. We have daily prayer. So every single day from Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, we get together for 15, 20 minutes. It's really quick for us to pray and for us to elevate the vibration of planet Earth. And we know that it is in giving that we receive, right? So we always, there is a mentor that says that there is always a little bit of perfume in the hands of those who give flowers. So let us be the one giving the flower to the world because we know that we are in very much need. So from Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. At Zoom link, at this Zoom link, and then on Saturdays, 11:30 in the morning. We also have fraternal counseling every Wednesday. This is by appointment only, and this is individual. So you can schedule your time slot from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And then one of BSH mediums will have like open heart to talk, to hear your thoughts, or even to pray together, if that's what you need. So count on us as a support for you to go through whatever you are going through. You don't have to go alone. Count on us. We are here for you. We also have a couple of classes because it is in those moments that we can read any specific book, discuss, bring our thoughts, bring our questions. We know that even if you are an advanced student of the Spiritism, there is always something different. There's always a different perspective that can be brought from anyone. So everybody is welcome to join us. So on March, we started a class called Inner Transformation, which we know that is super important for our journey. And Emmanuel, in the book Thought and Life, told us something very interesting. Evolution demands that we develop new habits, that we detach ourselves from lower forms and walk towards higher stages of existence. And we all know that detaching old habits, it's not an easy task. And that's why we are here. So we invite you to join Hearts and Forces for us to understand the tweaks that the high spirituality gives us so that we can all succeed in this journey. So the Inner Transformation is a class being offered in collaboration with Divine Light every first and third Tuesdays of each month. So from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., our sister Sunshine Beck receives us on Divine Light for this class. I will post either on Zoom and YouTube the link for you to be able to catch us up. We also have the study of the Spirit's book. So this is the first book of Allan Kardec series, and it unveils incredible details from the spiritual world through more than 1,000 questions. So we go over all those questions, we discuss all of them, and this is every Thursday from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. with our sister Duska, also available on Zoom link. And right after that, we have the Happy Life book study group. It's a very small but very intense and beautiful book that Joanna de Angelis wrote through Divaldo Franco. And it's from 7:30 to 8 p.m. every Thursday, also on Divine Light. We also have Spiritism for the Youth, which is just a special, very special way of bringing Jesus's message to our children. So we invite you to support this next generation in this path. You can just share with your friends. I think that we are almost finishing this group, but everybody's welcome to join us. And then soon, hopefully soon enough, we'll have a new class starting. But you can just invite your friends. If your friends have kids, just let them know. Every second and fourth Sunday of each month from 8:30 to 9:30 is right before this service here, and it's with our brother Brian Abiel in Zoom link. And last but definitely not least, we have every Sunday on the gospel. There is a part every chapter after the study, we have the Spirit's teaching. So this Sunday is this Spirit's teaching of the gospel according to the Spiritism. So we know that understanding Jesus's lessons, we are doing that now with the lens of the Spiritism through the explanation of the high spirituality. So this again is another class being offered with our friend Sunshine Beck through Divine Light. So it is every Sunday at 6 p.m., 30 minutes as well. And this one you can see on all the online platforms. So YouTube, BSH, Facebook, Divine Light, Facebook, Divine Light, BSH. And if you have any questions or if you're lost, you can always go to our website, bshcenter.org. And you can find all the links that are available in there. All right, so I will stop talking so then we can hear from our proper speaker today. But before, let me introduce him to you. So today we are blessed to have our brother Mark Carlos talking to us, and he will be bringing message on the law of charity, the most beautiful one, I think. For those who still don't know Mark, he began his spiritist journey in 2018 and becoming a member of BSH. Spiritually, he was raised Catholic, but left the church as 18. As an adult, he tried to live a Christian life. Mark knows he is exactly where he is supposed to be, constantly learning, praying, and contributing in any way he can to the current for an improved humanity. Mark is a native Californian and father of two young men. After college, Mark worked in technology during most of his 50-year working career and is now trying to figure out retirement. Good luck, my friend. Mark is a lifetime supporter of the arts and youth, with music as a common thread and volunteers regularly. So, thank you so much for being here today, Mark. And the stage is yours. Help me to welcome our dear brother. God bless you, brother.
Thank you, Kiki. Thank you, BSH. Thank you, friends, for attending today. I'm going to hold this up and hopefully you all realize what this is. We call this these days a piece of technology, a smartphone. For those of you who are old enough, can you remember life before cellular phones? Can you remember when cellular phones were big, ugly boxes and cost $100 a month? Can you remember when they developed the flip phone and how convenient it was? And then they developed the smartphone. And now we have the second generation of humans with complete intimacy with smartphones. I use that as an example for what I have learned in 3+ years of my spiritist journey. I've gone from no knowledge to basic knowledge to flip phone knowledge. And now I'm starting to enter the world of smartphone knowledge. And the topic today is a perfect example of that because I thought I understood charity. And until you read it in depth from a spirituality perspective, and of course from a spiritism perspective, you don't necessarily even know what you don't know. So come along this journey with me. I'm going to share with you what my sources I've used for this. On the left side, you see the spiritist sources. And on the right side, you see some of the websites I've used. And I'm going to go into a lot of this in detail. Well, we know from the gospel, chapter 11 is all about the law of justice, love, and charity. And there are so many pieces of information that define this chapter and these principles. But I'm just going to call out some of the more specific ones, not from the gospel, but from the Spirit's book. And so in the section called The Need for Societal Life, a preamble is number 766, where there's references to society and relationships. And then begins in 767, we instinctively seek societal living. All of us must cooperate in humankind's progress by mutually helping one another. All right, here comes charity. 876. And I would like just to acknowledge that you can read it as easily as I can, but you see what's highlighted in yellow there. And I don't have the blessing of being able to see the full screen on the right side. So I'm going to let you read both 876 and 878. And you can see that we are taking this concept of society and mutually helping one another, and we're getting more defined. And as we move through these questions, we see that we are encouraged to follow Jesus's example and practice charity and practice loving our neighbors, because without it, there's no justice. There's also a recognition that we are accumulating assets through our labor. You might want to think of this as brownie points. I don't want to suggest that God or any other spirit is keeping track and score and all that kind of thing, but you're going to see why this becomes important later on. But by practicing as Jesus did, there are tremendous blessings that come to us. So again, in 886, we talk about these feelings of benevolence, indulgence, forgiveness. And we associate now with the answer to the question, what is the true meaning of the word? And we elaborate based on Jesus's words. And again, it's imperative we all understand this is in the Spirit's book. It is right there for us to read, reread, reread, and think seriously about what each of these key phrases and words really mean. And again, I'm leading you to something, so hang in there. We know that in the gospel, there are a variety of sections. One of them is in the section called Faith and Charity, where charity without faith is impossible. Wait a minute. I have to have a belief in order to express charity? Well, of course I do. I have to believe that expressing charity is the right thing to do. Where does that belief come from? As we were taught. From volumes of information that predates Jesus, and from volumes of information that postdates Jesus. And Jesus was the model for not only the words before, but the words since. The Spirit's teachings get deeper. Paul talks about without charity, there is no salvation. They also speak to what is moral charity and caution us that moral charity consists in giving support to one another. And here's the key words. It is what you practice the least on the low order of the world where we are incarnated now. It's the least evidence of us practicing. We humans don't practice charity nearly enough. There's the strong message. There's the strong admonition. In this section about charity leads to salvation, and without it, there is no salvation. We learn the consequences of not being charitable. We also learn in other places the benefits of being charitable. That's not the key focus. Here's the key focus from chapter 15. In the final judgment, what will be taken into consideration? He will really ask only about one thing, the practice of charity. Who showed love towards his neighbor, above and beyond, or without charity? Jesus did not make charity one of the conditions. He made it the sole condition. We better understand the significance and importance of charity. There's no disputing it. And at the bottom here, you see underlined in red why our knowledge of this fact of there is no choice is so important. Because by practicing charity, we negate pride and selfishness. And we could launch an entire session on the perils of pride and selfishness. Now here's my thoughts. With all that is written by Kardec and the spirits, there's no question in your mind as the importance of charity. You can continue to understand the minutiae and the details to your heart's content, but until you put yourself into action with your body, it's all just free will, or more accurately stated, free resistance. You must be ready to take the first step into action when the opportunity presents itself. All the remaining steps will follow as they are meant to happen. And when you do this, you will realize something new. And I'm speaking from personal experience. There's a new part of yourself that emerges. I call it my essence. All of a sudden, charity is part of my essence. And what does that mean? It means I know the righteousness of what I want to do. I know that when the opportunity presents itself, I can make a difference in another life. I know that I have to have only the best intentions, no selfishness, no pride, no remuneration, yada, yada, yada. And every time I do this, my essence grows. My inner light shines. And it's contagious. People sense my vibrations, my positive energies. Now, again, this is me. This is not Kardec. This is my interpretation of what has occurred within me as I have grasped charity. Robbie encouraged me, and out of nowhere, my mentor said, well, let's do a visual. So I took the divine laws and I treated them as an atomic environment. They are all so interrelated. One does not exist without another. They all play and feed off of each other. And when you look at the center, you ask yourself, is that me? Is that you? Is that God? Is that humanity? What is that? Is that the earth? Is that the cosmos? Whatever you want, because all the rest of this is going on around us. If we truly believe in Spiritism, we need to embrace all of this in order for each of them to become part of our essence. And there's so much more to this topic too. I want to talk about the historical and global nature of this word charity. This is from Islam. And so when we talk about the rewards of practicing charity, here's a sensation that is experienced in the Islamic tradition from giving freely in a charitable manner. It becomes part of their essence. So I want to move now to some of the website stuff because I found this fascinating as I was preparing this presentation. So I'm going to show you some of what other Spiritist centers present on the topic of charity. And BSH, we might want to think about some of these things. We're going to talk about what other Spiritist centers do in the way of charitable activities. And we're going to talk about what some global Spiritist organizations present on the topic of charity. So we're not going to only see the US flavor, we're going to see a little bit more. So here's North America, here's Vancouver, BC. They have the Paul of Tarsus Spiritist Society, and they have this ongoing charitable project called the Andres Project. You can read about it there, but look at this. Every 6 weeks, they deliver 130 bags of toiletry items and socks to those in need who are living on the streets. Each bag has a message of hope. Real simple. Cardassist.org, which I found to be a really cool website. They spoke about the supreme law of Christ and have these paragraphs that I just cut and pasted from. He who is charitable and he who is charitable, and a poor person who is charitable. Again, I point this out because this is a website strengthening the message of the charitable essence. There's another one that fascinated me. In Fort Lauderdale, the Leon Denis Spiritist group, their education system is off the charts. They have this section called Explore Spiritism, and it's the introductory stuff. And they take you through step by step by step. There's another one that does this as well. But again, you can see what they say about charity. Some of them are direct quotes from Kardec. Look at this one on the lower left. Discreet assistance to those in need causing humiliation. So it's the sensing of a human in need that is desperate, that is feeling humiliation and reaching out to assist in that situation. That's pretty powerful stuff right there. Another website called Embracing Spirituality has a section on Spiritism. And while it's not paginated properly, it is at least good in content. That first sentence is just powerful. And what I sense in a lot of these websites is the authors are freely interpreting existing material, as I am in this presentation, in order to communicate something that is not so material in nature. It's more philosophical, it's more spiritual. And so when I speak of the essence, you know, you can't put a material definition to the word essence. It's whatever you want it to be. The British Union. Now this is cool because this is the overriding body for all the individual Spiritist centers in Great Britain. So again, I only point this out as an example of how Spiritists around the globe are choosing to speak to this topic of charity, this topic of society and relationships, which is the basis for charity, and this feeling, for lack of a better word, called essence that develops, that is encouraged. All right, this is maybe my most favorite website. This is an international website that offers, I believe it's 5 different language translations. You can look at this in 5 different ways. But, you know, amongst other things, they do question 886 right there. And now we'll come back to the US, talk about Dallas. And what I liked about this was, as I was searching all these major cities for their Spiritist centers and seeing who's doing things on charity and so on, notice what I did in my search engine called Bing. I typed in Spiritist Society of Dallas. Now, this is a techie thing, but notice what resulted. First result, page 1, top result, Spiritist Society of Dallas. And this phrase, without charity. In other words, the Spiritist Society of Dallas leads with charity. It's going to be the first thing you see when you try to find them online. You're going to see they're all about charity. You get an immediate association. They put a priority on it. This is also, this is from New York. And again, within their website, they put a priority on charity. explaining it, both from quoted text and in their own interpretations. Here's another wonderful website. The Society in Virginia has something called the Roadmap Program. And it is a multi-phase, I think there's 3 phases with 3 lessons in each phase. And it's the Intro to Spiritism, all in an online course. And what jumped out at me at this quote was one I had not seen before. Spiritism is a product of the work of 4 hands, the incarnates and the discarnates. I went, oh, that's beautiful. That's gorgeous. Again, my knowledge expands, my depth of understanding increases. All right, let's talk about some of the more commonly known and popular elements of charity in the Spiritism world. And of course, it matters not where we begin, but I'm going to begin with Chico, because so much he has written and psychographed on this very topic. But, you know, here's his summary of Charity Never Fails. And for those of you who are just listening and unable to see this, these are individual statements. I don't want to read too many of them or all of them, but I will say there are some really critical ones here. Whoever forgives any offense from the heart does not harbor repentance in his heart. So once I have forgiven, I no longer even concern myself with what occurred and what I need to do in response or reaction. That's a cornerstone of the charitable essence. Those who sacrifice themselves to alleviate the suffering of those around them demand new domains of, I can't see that last word. Whatever that says.
Essential happiness.
Thank you. And the last on this slide, charity expresses the perfection among the manifestations of the creature and flows in its foundations from the infinite love of God. Expresses the perfection in its foundations from the infinite flow of God. Okay, one of the most awesome stories is the story of Joan of Arc. Now, in particular, Leon Denis authored this book, and the book begins with what is called the translator's preface. And this preface was written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who is, as the name implies, British royalty. So read what he wrote about Joan of Arc. And again, for those who are just listening, next to the Christ, the highest spiritual being of whom we have any exact record upon this earth, putting Joan of Arc number 2 to Jesus as a model. Wow. For me, what I recognized was I have not been paying enough attention to all the wonderful presentations on Joan of Arc. I've enjoyed them. I've gotten plenty out of each one, but when you read something like this, now I want to go back and look at them all again. I want to read them all again, because there's obviously depth and breadth of importance and significance I did not realize the first time. So in this bio of Joanna de Angelis, we get this understanding that she has a mission to be an educator, an evangelist. And she has been a collaborator of Jesus in multiple incarnations. In particular, through Divaldo, more than 60 works. I have no idea what the real number may be now. But we now kind of transition into Divaldo being the voice box, if you will, for Joanna. And so we have now so much about Divaldo that is real time. This is a living, breathing extension of Jesus, of Joan of Arc, of Joanna de Angelis. And what he has done for his lifetime is astounding. From the written works he has psychographed, and what people have done with them in multiple languages to get the word out, so to speak, to his live speaking performances with hundreds of thousands of people. But he has something even more visible in his charitable essence, and that is the mansion. So in 1952, he created the Mansion of the Way. And they take care of adopted children. And they take them from whatever age they get them through an entire system of health, education, housing, nutrition, and more. And as of the date this was written, more than 30,000 people, boys and girls, have gone through their system. I want to visit this place. I'm sitting on tickets to Brazil and won't go right now because of the pandemic, but I want to visit this place. I want to see it living and breathing. I want to inhale the essence. The divine laws are absolutely alive. This presentation of charity, being part of this entire matrix of principles, has a profound impact if you take the time to experience it. So I'm going to tell you now, in these last few minutes, a little bit about me and how this presentation today and this principle of charity has impacted me. So prior to being a spiritist, I had over 45 years, 50 years, whatever, a variety of different involvements in charitable organizations. Served in leadership at United Way and American Red Cross boards. Was a big brother. Did a lot of events with them. For decades, I supported Young Life, which is a high school and now college-based Christian youth organization. And then I welcomed Spiritism into my life, and immediately was thrust into BSH and our location in Penryn, California, and the activities that went on a weekly basis, and the personalities, and the spirit, and the spirits. And as I began my journey, I was getting the knowledge, but only on a few choice opportunities was I doing anything of a charitable nature. And I can remember having a conversation with Sunshine. As we walked through a forest one day, I said, okay, this is missing in my life. The other wing, I'm flying in circles. The other wing has nothing going on. I'm not doing anything. And she said, have no fear, it will come, it will come. Maybe you need to stay in the nest a little longer. So I kept learning. I moved to Las Vegas and I got involved with the Las Vegas Spirit Center, and immediately we started feeding the homeless every Sunday, which was just a marvelous activity to be part of something like that and to go home every single day knowing you made a small difference. Come back to Sacramento, and I was actually doing some of this before, working in a variety of different food shelters, food distribution places, just passing out free food wherever we could. I've also delivered water during the summer. Just go buy 4 cases of water and deliver water to homeless camps. Drop a case on the sidewalk, let them come and get it. And then 2021 comes along, and something truly magical has happened. And I could do an entire presentation on just this, but it goes like this. I have a cousin who I've been close with my whole life. She and her husband married 40 plus years ago, and about 25 years ago started a business. And her mother is the accountant for that business. And because I had a background in accounting and a background in technology, I've been kind of an arm's length support person for them ever since they started that business 25 years ago. Gave them advice on websites, yada, yada, yada. Well, my cousin Leanne's husband, Jim, passed away suddenly of a heart attack in 2019. They had 14 employees. They now have 6. What do? They make shoes by hand. To say it simply, if you know what Renaissance fairs are, Shakespeare festivals, all the footwear, that's what they make. Authentic period piece footwear. They have clients from all over the world in theater, in movie production, whatever. They get orders all the time. But really what they do is Renaissance fairs in the United States. Well, in 2019, as they started their season, the president of the company died. They barely existed in 2019. Lost money. 2020, the pandemic hit. Lost money, no business, no Renaissance fairs, no orders. 2021, they're back. They need help. She called me out of the blue in April and said, Mark, I need help. I said, I'm there. What a great thing to do in retirement. First question out of her mouth, what are you going to cost? And I said, nothing. You pay me $100 to drive 3 hours each way each week. I'll stay at your house. That's it. Feed me and pay my gas. No compensation. Absolutely, I would not take a penny. They haven't got the penny to pay me. And so we've started the show season. We're 4 weeks into the show season right now, and the tide has turned. There's a possibility of returning to profitability this year. So that's my contribution. It's and to her, I'm a saint. No, I'm not. I'm doing what God put in front of me. I'm doing what I've been waiting for to do ever since I started the Spiritist journey. And now I get to do it. And it's an absolute labor of love. And I care about those 6 employees deeply, not just my cousin and her mom, my aunt. So it is an awesome experience to feel the essence. I'm excited about getting up at 6 o'clock tomorrow and driving 3 hours. I'm excited, and I get excited every Monday, and I come home Wednesday pretty exhausted, but it's a cool thing. I'm working again. I'm applying all these years of experience and knowledge I learned, and most importantly, the atomic image of the principles, the divine laws. They're in me. That is the 11th law. Justice, love, and charity. So what's it mean for you? That's my question for you all today. I encourage you all to think seriously about this topic because it is powerful, powerful. If you're already delivering charity, you know its power. Otherwise, pray for the opportunities because they're going to come. I'm done.
Yay. That is beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, friend. Mark, well, I think that as you were saying, like, I think that when we read the Spirit's book and then we saw this law of love, charity, and justice, there's a reason why they are all together, right? There is no charity without justice. There is no justice without love. There is no love without charity. And I started reading this book about St. Francis of Assisi, which, by the way, might be my next sharing with you. And I've been learning a lot from what you were saying about like us looking for this essence. We see on the Spirit's book that one of like the biggest root cause of all sufferings are pride and vanity. And charity is definitely, I think, that the most beautiful and effective tool that we have for us to learn to love. Because without charity, there is no love. Without love, there is no charity. So, like when we get cold and because of our pride, we are still evolving that more, right? We are still learning how to not be prideful. We are still learning how to not to be so like, prideful. And by putting the other person in front of us is really being able to remove ourselves from all of this. So I think that this is a really pathway for us to learn the love, like learn the love that Jesus came to teach us. That is hard, it's so hard. And that's why he says, without charity, there is no salvation. Because I feel like you make me think that it is through charity that we will learn how to love the love that Christ came to teach us. So that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing this.
When I looked at chapter 11 and I saw justice, love, and charity, I thought, oh, good, I'll just break it into 3 parts and do a little bit of each. So I thought, I'll start with charity. Well, I never got back to the love and justice.
That's true. That is true, friend.
This is very different, Mark. I like being babysitted. I want somebody to read for me. I'm lazy. But anyway, it was beautiful. And it's always good to be reminded of charity and charity in different ways. As a matter of fact, it's so funny. I had a consultation this morning with someone, and that was one of their questions. I told them that give back, do something for someone else, instead of me, my. And their question was, what? Do what? What do you mean? I said, think about it. What can you offer? I don't have anything to offer anybody. I said, but actually you do. I said, you have a lot to give to children, if no one else. Talk to those children. They need someone. And then I asked them, is that an idea? What are you thinking? They said, wow. And I said, and you can always help at a soup kitchen, help the elderly people. They always need someone to talk to. It goes on and on. The list is really quite long. But I'm here to say this. Even counseling is a form of charity. And believe me, it's work. Because you have to spend a lot of time and patience. And sometimes it could take a while for that person to trust in you, to talk to you. And you need that. So to help them, because we got too many people giving up to suicide because they don't feel worthy. They don't feel no one loves them, So we have to be patient and we have to be present for someone. I don't care if I have to go across town. I'm here. Just call me. I'll come. So, you know, yeah, charity, you can never, there's no end to it, really. And it's so funny because last, was it Christmas? We were thinking about doing the same thing with the little bags and stuff. Remember, it was me, Tony, and Kiki. We wanted to put these little bags together and to hand them out to people, but COVID was so intense, they recommended to put it off. So, but anyway, it's not a dead cause, but charity is a good thing. It really is. It's good to see you, Dave, and now. Thank you, Mark.
Here, Regina.
I would like to share very quickly. First of all, love the fact that you made us read. That was a really great teacher tactic. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. I'm gonna try that in my classroom. And I love the analogy with what you started. It was so something that we can all relate with the smartphone, and to see the progress of your personal touch, which is what we really felt and saw in here. But my favorite part was actually the examples, because, you know, it's just like, just to add to Ms. Gina and to Kiki, all the wonderful things they've said, you know, we're all surrounded by charity. It's not something out of this world. It's not something new to us. I know that the very first time I was exposed to this kind of stuff was in high school. They make us do volunteer work. If you don't want to do, we did 75 hours back in my day. I'm not going to say when, and we had to volunteer. I know now some high schools are offering you have to over 100 hours in 4 years. And this is already teaching the young kids about the exposure to this. But sometimes, you know, not throwing this back to us as spiritists, we get so entangled, and beautifully too, because we do need to study, and we study and we read this chapter and over. We've heard it so many times, and everybody brings something, but it really gets down to me, when you showed those examples, it was just, these are the basic examples, let's do it. And I've had the beautiful blessing to volunteer. I probably have shared this so many times, and it was because I was not in a good place. I was very depressed. I wasn't good. And I went up to this person, right? And I said, I am not feeling well, right? And this person says, this is what you need to do. You need to go and help. And to me, what do you mean, right? I was expecting, oh, me, right? But, you know, the spirits are good. Long story short, ended up doing the work with the refugee camp, and now at the bus station. I have no words. I cannot even put into perspective. I've yet to sit down and just kind of think about what has happened in the 2 years plus that, you know, helping with the whole team. This is not just me, it's a whole team of people. And the beautiful thing about this too, just to throw this, in this particular organizations, there are all sorts of people that we meet. They're agnostics, they're Protestants, they're Catholics, they're spiritists, they're spiritualists, they're all sorts of things. And I love how that diversity, when we throw ourselves out there to beautifully serve others, we get exposed to so much of this love that is already there. There's so many people, really think about it, they're already doing this. And it's interesting because there's always going to be, this is me, there's always going to be a spiritist in a group, right? Just to do it. But thank you so much. And and one more thing about free resistance, right? To me, when you use that phrase, free resistance, it reminded me so much about, it's like in our spiritual DNA, and we just resist so much, but it's there, right? We know we have to do something, and it's a hard calling. It is not easy. It's not easy. It's because right now, to step out of our homes, right? To go and do something, that's not easy, especially we have a job. Oh, it's tough. It is tough. And let me tell you, I go back and I'm just thinking about, you know, being a teacher. I don't even know how that happened, going to school, teaching, and then on Sundays crossing over to Mexico. How? What was it? And so the thing that I learned is, when we really put ourselves to it, you will never figure that out, because it's not for us to figure out where the time comes, where the energy comes. It's just for us to follow it, and the mentors will help us. So thank you so much. Really, really love this presentation, Mark. Thanks.
A great presentation, brother. I loved your diagram. because it really shows how beautifully everything is interlinked and interwoven. And I really liked how you pointed out what is at the middle. That's a wonderful question to contemplate for each of us, because it could be ourselves, but as we think about it, it could be the collective, it could be the planet, it could be our creator. I really enjoyed that. Another interesting aspect of charity for me, I found, is how much it grounds me too when I practice it, because we definitely give, but what we receive at times we don't always see. And I know from my point of view, it has put things better in perspective for me and helped to keep me grounded. And one other thing I wanted to offer with regards to charity is it can be as simple as a smile, and it can be just as important as being conscious of our thoughts and realizing what we offer to the world, because we all are interconnected. We all are together. And so be aware of our thoughts at all times is practicing charity without having to go out, without having to do, and we can practice it at all times. So thank you so much for the presentation. I loved it, and good job.
Thank you, Robbie. You know, there is one more acknowledgement. Nora, I forgot to say this. You just gave a presentation this week on Kardec Radio. And I watched it yesterday on the recording after I'd finished this presentation. And I went, okay, this is synergy. This is amazing. Look what she's saying. Look what she's showing. When you showed the video, I was just blown away. Just blown away. I almost wanted to use it today. And I said, no, people need to go out and watch Nora's presentation.
Maybe you want to give us the link for everybody here to see.
Yeah,
Oh, is it the one with the story of the shoo?
Yes, yes.
You guys want to see it? It's what, 2 minutes? I can share it here.
The shoo story is hilarious.
Yeah, or what I think, actually what I think we can do is send us the link of your lecture so we can all watch.
I don't know where it's on. I don't know where it is. I can look for it if you give me. We're going on a break. I will put it here.
Yes, that's awesome. So we are now going to go to a break. And then in this meanwhile, Nora is going to find us the link for her lecture. And we will come back if that's okay, Nora. All right, guys. So we're going to have, it's 11 a.m. Pacific time. So we'll take a 3 minutes break. Make sure that you bring your water for magnetizing, for it to be magnetized. Write down the names of those who you wish to bring for vibration. Also feel free to type them in the chat box. If you don't want to send it to everyone, you can send it directly to Regina, to myself, to whoever you feel comfortable, because we will keep working on the vibration, not only today, but also tomorrow as well. So 5 minutes break, no, 3 minutes break, sorry, 3 minutes break.